The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Good morning. It is 9:08 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, betterwater.com. Get yourself a water filter. We begin today just, covering the sad news that happened in Antioch yesterday. Absolutely heartbreaking. Another school shooting. This stuff has to stop. It has to stop. As a dad, it pains me anytime I hear one of these stories because you just think of the heartbreak for all of these families, all of these kids. And it's just so sad. And I was talking with a friend, Bo Alford. He's been on the show before. He does some reporting for Turning Point USA, and he was on the scene yesterday. And I had connected him with Murphy and got him on that show to discuss what was happening. And I was speaking with him, and he said, he's at the student pickup spot that they had arranged to reunify kids with parents, and he said it was surreal and it was so happy at times, but the reason it was happy was because of the heartbreak, where parents would see their kids and there would be screams of joy and they'd run to them and grab them and just wrap their arms around them. And that joy is because of the darkness that was just happening. You know what I mean? The pain that they just witnessed created that opposite side of joy, but it's terrible, and no parent should have to go through that. No kid should have to go through that, and I don't want to live in a country where they do. But I think that we need to ask the right questions, and I don't think it's time to get political and blame the gun or blame the parents or blame the kid. I just want answers. I think mental health is clearly going to be a big discussion in this one, but it seems like the left is already figuring out who is to blame, and Congressman Maxwell Frost, a Democrat out of Florida, he's officially on the record blaming President Trump for the school shooting because they closed down the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. You want to give me a little audio, Mason?
The office wasn't about politics. It was about saving lives and even had bipartisan support from members in this chamber. But on day 2 of the Trump administration, something happened. That progress was recklessly dismantled by President Donald Trump. Just today, one day after the office was shut down, students were shot at a high school in Nashville and one was killed. While lives are stolen daily by gun violence, this administration is busy signing executive orders that have nothing to do with helping working families and keeping our communities safe.
Are you picking up what he's putting down? The shooting yesterday, obviously Trump's fault. Obviously. Now, again, he didn't have that same energy when the shooting happened in Madison, Wisconsin in December while Joe Biden was still president. He didn't have that energy at all. You know, he blamed the gun in that situation. In this situation, we're going to blame Donald Trump closing down the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. I don't know how the Office of Gun Violence Prevention could have stopped that. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how a kid gets to that point without a parent understanding or noticing something's wrong. This has been the hardest thing for me with this shooting. It's like, where are the parents? I can't imagine a scenario where one of my kids would get to such a dark place that they feel like that would be the only option without seeing a red flag. Now, maybe I'm talking from an ivory tower because I haven't witnessed that firsthand, and maybe the parents did try to do everything that they could to help the young man that perpetrated that heinous act. But it's so hard to process for me as a father on many different levels. So my heart goes out to the victims and their family. My heart goes out to the students, the staff members, and everybody reeling from that shooting yesterday. And Joan Jones and Ken Weaver do a fantastic job in the newsroom. And as updates become available, we'll have them for you all day here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And I do expect more updates. We're getting the manifesto leaking, and you know you're learning some things about this kid that really just are maddening to see. And again, I go back to, where were the parents during all of this? Where were they? You know, the writings that we're seeing just show an unhinged young man with clear mental health issues. And I just pray for comfort and peace for all the families involved. It just sucks, man. I don't know how else to put it. This kind of stuff sucks. And you don't want to see it happen, ever. And it seems like it happens too often. But it also seems like the Democrats are going to jump at, it's the gun's fault, it's Donald Trump's fault. And yet it seems like after every one of these shootings, we never get to ask the question about what kind of medication may the shooter have been on, what were the mental health issues that the shooter had. That stuff always gets swept under the rug, and it's blame the gun. The gun is just a tool. Let's be perfectly honest. It's the unhinged lunatic that's wielding it that we need to figure out what was going on and how. And we're going to get some of those answers. We will. And I hope we get them sooner rather than later. But you can never be too sure with how quickly we're going to get information. But again, just prayers and thoughts going out to those victims and the families. Just sucks, man. Awful. We'll update you on the latest at the bottom of the hour and top of the hour all day long here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And I just want to say shout out to Matt Murphy that he did a fantastic job covering that in real time yesterday, as he always does. We're blessed to have him on staff, being able to handle this with such professionalism, and he just does a fantastic job. It's just hard for me to cover this, man. I put myself into the parents' shoes, and it's like you want to just cry. Like, you just feel for these families. So we'll get you updates as they become available, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more about the shooter, the motive, and et cetera, here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In the meantime, there is a lot of news to cover. There's a lot happening, and the one of the main things that the Democrats want to take issue with these past couple days are the fact that Donald Trump pardoned J6ers and that Elon Musk did a Hail Hitler salute. Are we going to do this? It seems like this is going to be the game plan, the blueprint for the next 4 years. Hone in on something obscure, take it out of context, and then blast it across the networks as the main issue. Senator Chris Murphy was on with Joy Reid yesterday, and he's talking about Elon Musk.
You made some news yesterday in questioning Elise Stefanik, who's Donald Trump's choice to be our UN ambassador. And you talked about the spread of glee among far right-wing groups over Elon Musk and his behavior. Can you say more about that? What threats are you seeing out there? What kind of reactions are you seeing to him?
So, listen, what you saw is what you think you saw. Elon Musk did the Heil Hitler salute. He did. And of course he did, because he's been, constantly trading in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories on Twitter. He endorsed the far-right neo-Nazi party in Germany.
I'm going to need a source for that. Elon Musk endorsed the far-right neo-Nazi party in Germany. Are we just throwing crap against the wall and seeing what sticks? Elon Musk is an autistic man who is very, very happy, slapped his chest and said, "My heart goes out to you," and threw his arm out to the audience. They're playing that clip ad nauseum without sound, and just the clip of him slapping his chest and throwing his arm out and saying he's doing the Hail Hitler. I forget where I saw this. I think it was the Babylon Bee, and the more I think about it, I'm pretty sure it was the Babylon Bee. It said far left progressives take a break from their rampant anti-Semitism to call Elon Musk Hitler. Right? Yeah, that's what they're doing. It's like, do you guys understand who is in your base? It's the height of hypocrisy here. No, Elon Musk is not a Nazi. He's not. He didn't do a Hail Hitler salute. And the same way that you can find videos of Tim Walz on the campaign trail with Kamala Harris, and he slaps his chest and does the same little wave to the crowd, and it looks like a Hail Hitler salute. That wasn't a Hail Hitler either. You know what I mean? And the right didn't latch onto it and go, look, they're signaling to their anti-Semitic far-left Hamas-supporting base that they're with them and they're against Israel. Like, we didn't do that because it was nonsensical. This is nonsensical as well. Yet the Democrats have nothing else to latch onto.
But you don't have to believe me. Just look at what happened that night on far-right Telegram channels. Neo-Nazi groups and white supremacist groups here in the United States said, "That's our guy."
Yeah. Oh, it was on the far-right Telegram groups, guys. You know all the far-right Telegram groups, don't you? Oh, no, nobody's in the far-right Telegram groups. So you're just, again, mudslinging against the wall and hoping that it sticks and hoping that people take you at your word. Yeah. I wonder how many feds are in those far-right Telegram chats. The same far-right Telegram chats that I'm sure they used to coordinate the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot, where it ended up being a Spider-Man meme of everyone pointing at each other going, "Who's the Fed?" Yeah. Those Telegram chats.
That's our signal. Donald Trump's with us. He's with our white supremacy agenda.
Yep. That's Donald Trump for you. Do they have no self-awareness that this isn't going to work? Any self-awareness at all? Donald Trump got more votes from black Americans than any conservative candidate in history. They understand that they've done this for 9 years now, right? And it doesn't work. Nobody believes Donald Trump is a racist. Nobody believes that Elon Musk is a white supremacist. Elon Musk was arguing for H-1B visas on Twitter just a few weeks back. I mean, if he's a racist, he's a terrible racist, right? Can we all agree on that?
You pair that together with the 1,500 pardons, which is a signal to those fringe violent groups that if they engage in violence in Donald Trump's name, that they'll get away with it. And what you were talking about is maybe the most dangerous moment in modern American political history.
Yeah, this is the most dangerous moment in modern political American history right now, because Elon Musk waved to the crowd after saying, "My heart goes out to you." And Donald Trump is clearly a racist.
Whereas there is a sense of endorsement from Elon Musk and a sense of entitlement and immunity given to people who are contemplating acts of violence against politicians, but specifically Democrats. And so all of our lives got put in jeopardy.
All of our... Mason, your life got put in jeopardy. Hey, Joan,
Yes, sir.
Your life was put in jeopardy.
I understand.
My life was put in jeopardy.
Yeah.
My kids. It's all of our lives.
By what Elon Musk did on Monday night and what Donald Trump did the next day with those pardons. And that's just the reality.
That's the reality, guys. I don't want you to feel less safe, but that's what Senator Chris Murphy is saying. All of our lives are in jeopardy. Where was the energy with the wide open southern border when you were letting in special interest aliens who were actually putting American lives in jeopardy? Like not in a, hypothetical sense, but in a literal sense. American lives were made less safe under the Biden regime. Not the same energy. No. Weird. It's a little weird, right? Not surprising. A little weird. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. They found out why Kamala Harris lost. Yep. It wasn't because she was completely unlikable and schnockered by 3 o'clock in the afternoon either. It was a different reason. Find out who they're blaming the loss on when we return. In the meantime, I'm here to tell you about my friends at United Structural Systems. If you need the best, call USS. For foundation repair and waterproofing, there is no better. These guys have been doing it in Middle Tennessee since 1994, and they have over 30,000 satisfied customers. And they didn't get them by accident. They get them because when you call USS to your house, you're not getting a sales guy who's trying to meet a quota. You're getting somebody who has no problem telling you if there's no problem. They also have no problem telling you if it's something small or something big that needs to be fixed right away. And if you're noticing water in your crawl space, wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors, that's your house trying to tell you something. What the house is saying is call United Structural Systems immediately. You don't want those little problems to turn into something big, and they can quickly. Call your experts. Call United Structural Systems. They'll take a look, and they'll come up with a custom solution for you. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
up ahead, the one thing that was missing at Antioch High School before the shooting yesterday. We've got that story coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 9:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We were talking about the Senator, Chris Murphy, saying, it's the most dangerous time. Everybody's in danger. Everybody's in danger because Elon Musk did a zig hail. And the Telegram groups they're going bananas. I got a text, Brian, on the super text line. WTF is a Telegram group. Telegram is an encrypted chat service where you can sort of find like Twitter style feeds, but it's another free speech platform. It's such a free speech platform that the CEO of Telegram got arrested in France for allowing free speech on the platform. So a lot of people use Telegram. I use it a lot with my Turning Point USA friends. That's where we kind of communicate the most. It's safe. It's encrypted. So that's what Telegram is. It's just another social media platform. I have a story here. I have two stories really. Should we do the real reason Kamala lost first, or should we do the rumor I was telling you about, Mason? Which way do you think we should go?
Is it weird that I want the larger segment later to be on Kamala?
Okay, so there's two stories, and there's a thread that ties them both together. I don't want to tell you what thread ties them both together. All right, here's the rumor mill is going bananas. We'll do Kamala next, and I'll tell you about the rumor.
Yeah.
First, okay. The latest rumor mill is that Barack Obama is going to divorce Big Mike because he's actually in a relationship with Jennifer Aniston.
Shut up.
I swear, and this
Come
rumor
on.
is not going away. It's not going away.
Yeah, I'm reading up on it right now, and it's
everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
And that's why she skipped Jimmy Carter's funeral. That's why she skipped the inauguration.
You mean Big Mike?
Yeah, Big Mike. That's why. That's why they posted that weird 20th anniversary photo where she was looking rough. That's why. Because
Jennifer Aniston?
That's what I'm saying. It's everywhere, Joan. I'm surprised you haven't heard this yet. And it's not going away. It's been in the rumor mills for a couple weeks now. And you know what they say about a rumor that doesn't go away?
Right, it's got to be true.
It's got to be true,
Yeah.
and it's on the internet. So here's a question. Going from
This is a wild question.
Okay, are you ready for this wild question?
I don't know if you should ask it.
No, I'm going to ask it. I'm
Okay.
going to. Get ready. All right. If you go from Michelle Obama to Jennifer Aniston, is that a bigger upgrade? Or going from Brad Pitt to Barack Obama, is that a bigger downgrade? What's bigger in this situation, the upgrade or the downgrade? The floor is yours, Joan Jones.
Well, look, I even with all of his flaws, I think Brad Pitt is hot.
So you think it's a bigger downgrade for Jennifer Aniston than it is an upgrade for Barack Obama?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Why did Kamala actually lose the election? I'll tell you next on Super Talk.
9:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Stick around for the forecast coming up in a couple of minutes here. The picture of life at Antioch High School before yesterday's shooting is becoming more clear now. News Channel 5 reports the school made safety improvements last year to include shatter-resistant window film and security foyers installed at the school's entrances. They also added new security cameras outfitted with AI technology designed to identify weapons. But one thing that was missing, metal detectors. The Tennessee Star reporting that metal detectors were installed during the COVID pandemic, but removed at some point before yesterday's school shooting for unknown reasons. Now, the developer of that weapons detection system installed in the school's cameras said the school system should have picked up the image of that gun and then notified police.
This is a technology that allows an existing safety system, your security cameras, to be turned into a proactive avoidance tool. The big advantage of using artificial intelligence over humans is you can do it quite reliably.
Now, it's not clear if those cameras worked as planned in yesterday's scenario. The shooter used the streaming platform Kick to live stream that shooting, at least partially yesterday. And the company quickly put out a video to say that they banned the shooter's account and they removed the video. Some video circulating online of the apparent incident shows the shooter filming himself as he walked through the school's hallways and attempted to open doors, but classrooms had been locked. We'll have more on this all throughout the morning. One other story here. The TBI has released a statewide endangered child alert for a teenager missing from Hollenwald. 17-year-old Alyssa Varney was last seen yesterday, and officials say she has a medical condition that may make it difficult for her to get home safely without help. If you know anything about the whereabouts of Alyssa Varney, you're being asked to call police. That is the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 9:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We were talking about the Barack Obama divorce rumors that aren't going away. The rumor is that he's leaving Big Mike for Jennifer Aniston.
Which is wild to me. That's
So I asked,
Why?
is it a bigger upgrade for Barack or a bigger downgrade for Jennifer? Super text line's completely split.
yeah, they're going back and forth.
Divided. I haven't seen us this divided since the Speaker of the House race. You know, I don't know. It's hit a nerve.
Hey, the audience loves controversy.
You know, it's on the internet, so it must be true.
Oh, of course.
A lot of people bringing up Larry Sinclair. I don't understand why. Sorry. Mario said 3 men and a lady. That's terrible.
That's wild.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I know we joke, but wow.
Yeah, so everybody's split. Everybody's split. Upgrade, downgrade, upgrade, downgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
We do know one thing. Jennifer knows how to split families, that's for sure.
She does. She does.
She got Brad and Angelina Jolie.
Fact check true.
Ooh.
Yep. Was that she split them up, not the other way around?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was the other way around.
Because I thought Brad and Angelina Jolie got together after Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then
Yeah.
Jennifer and
No, they were together before that.
were they?
Yeah, and then that movie split up Brad and Jen.
And Jen? Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't followed her love life closely at all.
I was like, meh.
It's not really my lane of expertise.
She's only coming back into it because Barack, which is a wild statement.
Dude.
Because I don't pay attention to Barack either.
I love that rumor. There's another rumor flying around. Kamala Harris knows why she lost the election now, and this could lead to some turmoil in her life. They're blaming First Doug. Yep. Kamala Harris, there's an insider saying that former VP, I love saying that, former VP, the best female vice president we've ever had, for the record. Let the record state, Kamala Harris was the best female vice president we ever had. They're saying that the smiles and affection for her beloved Dougie were actually fake. And that they're now blaming First Doug with all of the stories that came out from him, slapping nannies slapping girlfriends and impregnating nannies for the reason that she lost the election. It had nothing to do with the fact that she had no policy whatsoever, that she was anointed by the Democrat Party to run. Nothing to do with that. But they say as she weighs her political future and maybe a 2026 run for governor of California, she has to consider whether First Doug is an asset or a liability. This one. All right, so this is another rumor. This one I completely believe because the Democrats are so in their own echo chamber that she could never possibly admit that she had anything to do with that loss. And she could never possibly admit that Trump had anything to do with the win, right? It has to be somebody else's fault. It has to. So First Doug, he's going to become Scape Doug. And one source told Daily Mail, there's plenty of blame to go around. As far as Kamala is concerned, Doug has his share. They say Doug did Kamala no favors during the election. Frankly, he looked like a hypocritical A after the bombshells that he had got his child's nanny pregnant while married to his first wife and assaulted his ex-girlfriend on the heels of his I Am a Woman crusade. Despite their brave, united front at the inauguration and at President Jimmy Carter's funeral, those close to the couple believe it's not all hunky-dory between them. So you got some of the biggest members of the Democrat Party, rumors of divorce. The word is that Kamala's husband has already signed up for a job with a Big Apple law firm, which would require them to split their time between New York and Los Angeles. So it's going to be a soft split, then a hard split. And they say at Monday's presidential inauguration, the couple presented a united front, though their expressions remained grim as they sat through Trump's speech, their faces mirroring their tension. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it had a little bit to do with Trump just completely dressing down that administration to their face as well. But They say First Doug. First Doug is going to get the blame. First Doug. Gotta love it. I wouldn't blame Doug. I mean, I just blame your terrible, terrible candidate and your lack of policy that the American people want. I mean, you guys destroyed the country for 4 years. Let's not let First Doug overshadow that. Donald Trump has also revealed his letter that he got from Joe Biden. Do you remember a couple? I was going to say a couple weeks, a couple days. This is the Donald Trump presidency in a nutshell. It feels like he's been president for a couple weeks because even before he was inaugurated, we were already feeling the Trump effect. And what he's gotten done in the first 2 days has been monumental. It feels like we've had Donald Trump in office for a month. So, excuse me. But you remember Trump was asked if he got the letter, you know, when they were in the Oval Office. Peter Doocy asked Trump, did Biden leave you a letter?
President Trump, did President Biden leave you a letter?
He may have. Right? Don't they leave it in the desk? I don't know. Oh,
What's in there?
thank you, Peter. It could have been years before we found this. Wow, thank you.
What do you say on the outside?
Maybe we should all read it together.
Let's read it.
Well, maybe I'll read it first and then make that determination.
That sounds great.
So Trump got the letter. It says 47 on the outside envelope, and he says, "Well, let me read it first." And it's funny. I'm thinking to myself, like, what possibly could this letter from Joe Biden say? Is the letter written in crayon? Is the letter written in Jill Biden's handwriting? These are the questions I have. You know, I'm sure that you have a lot of questions about what the letter says too. But my thought was, do you remember when he was talking about catching hell from his wife? Do you remember that? Anyway, catching hell from my wife. I wonder if Joe wrote that in the letter, but they actually released the entire letter and what it said.
Dear President Trump, as I take leave of this sacred office, I wish you and your family all the best in the next 4 years. The American people and people around the world look to this House for steadiness in the inevitable storms of history. And my prayer is that in the coming years will be a time of prosperity, peace, and grace for our nation. May God bless you and guide you as he has blessed and guided our beloved country since our founding. Joe Biden, 1/20/25.
That's the letter. Short, sweet, to the point. He probably didn't write it himself. Yep, that's the letter. You know, I say he probably didn't write it himself because of all the references to God, you know. It just seems a bit out of place. I feel like the only time Joe Biden is a Catholic is when he's, at an abortion clinic and doing the sign of the cross. But that's where we're at. But they still don't have any idea why they lost. They're still trying to figure it out. Kamala Harris is blaming First Doug now, and they just don't understand that they ruined the country for 4 years. I mean, even in Boston, deep blue Massachusetts, you got blue-collar workers on CNN talking about why they went for Trump. And while they explain it to CNN, it's like it doesn't process to them. It still is not processing.
The Erie Pub is a Dorchester landmark. Cops, firefighters, plumbers, and electricians fill these stools. John Stenson's dad bought the place 60 years ago.
They are, first of all, Irish, many of them. Secondly, basically blue-collar workers, union officials, union workers.
Irish blue-collar union workers, and I would argue most likely Catholic in that neighborhood in Boston. This is a neighborhood that should honestly support Joe Biden as hard as anybody, right? He fits with them. But they couldn't line up with the Democrat Party anymore.
Your everyday people that make up a neighborhood.
What was the vote split here among your regulars?
On my regulars, they probably were in favor of Trump. They're probably 60-40.
60-40.
Yeah.
When Trump won 2 precincts in Boston and they were right here, that surprised you?
No, because I'm here every day and I hear the conversation.
What were people talking about?
Oh, well, immigration and cost of living at the top.
Immigration and cost of living at the top. And what did Kamala Harris not have a plan for? Immigration and cost of living. What did the Biden-Harris administration completely trash over 4 years? Cost of living and immigration. It is as clear as day. yet they're looking everywhere else for excuses as to why they lost. Everywhere else. Meanwhile, the Trump administration just needs to get things done. They're delaying the confirmation hearings, and it's starting to piss me off. I wonder if it's starting to piss you off as well. They're even saying that recess appointments could be back on the menu, boys, because it seems like nobody wants to get anything done. CBS News has this. Trump threatens to adjourn Congress, make recess appointments. President Trump has threatened to use his powers to adjourn Congress so he can make recess appointments for at least some of his top cabinet nominees and their deputies, enabling them to begin running the largest federal departments. Mr. Trump recently raised the prospect of plunging the executive and legislative branches into uncharted constitutional territory during his White House meeting Tuesday with Senate Majority Leader John Thune, House Speaker Mike Johnson, mulling the option if Democrats opt to slow walk or delay his top national security and public health nominees, according to two people familiar with the meetings. Let's go. If they don't want to get it done, then do it for them, okay? The American people gave you a mandate. They say this remains a significant possibility in the eyes of the White House. One of the people familiar with the meeting said, emphasizing this is not expected to happen this week, but remains under active consideration. I hope it is. I hope it is. Thune is on the record saying that he's ready to keep people at work to get these nominees in. He says that Senate Republicans are ready to hold the Senate open nights, weekends, or even do recesses to confirm Trump nominees. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said that yesterday. This is from Breitbart News. Thune on the Senate floor Tuesday decried Senate Democrats holding up the nomination of John Ratcliffe to become the CIA director. For instance, Senator Chris Murphy, who we just played a clip from a little while ago, is worried about Elon Musk being a Nazi. He's spent much of his time on the floor this week obsessing over the January 6th protests after Trump pardoned many of them. And, you know, he doesn't keep that same energy for the Biden pardons, which were horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And in early January, only one poll found that only 5% of American registered voters believe the January 6th protests were the biggest memories of Trump's first term in office. The American people don't care. Again, the Democrats are just out of touch with the American people. They're out of touch. Thune is just having enough of the stalling tactics. Said he's willing to hold the Senate in session virtually indefinitely to confirm Trump's nominees.
I was listening to the chair of the Intelligence Committee just a moment ago talking about this nominee, and I was curious. I asked the Senator from Arkansas, chairman of the Intelligence Committee, what was the vote coming out of committee for Mr. Radcliffe?
The vote was 14-3.
Okay, so 14-3 coming out of the committee. And we've now wasted a whole day where we could have been acting on that nomination. And so really, I think the question before the House is, do we want to vote on these folks on Tuesday or vote on them on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Because that's what we're going to do. This can be easy or this can be hard. This is a nominee that came out of the Intelligence Committee 14-3. It is a bipartisan nomination to the Central Intelligence Agency. This is about America's national security interests.
Yeah, and the Democrats are more concerned about holding everything up and resisting Trump at all costs. Listen, I wasn't overly excited about John Thune. Not gonna lie, I was actually like, meh. You know, I think that was my reaction at its best. Meh. But I'm with him here. Nights, weekends, or recesses.
And we're stalling. So that's not going to happen. We're going to file cloture on them. You can force us to staying around here, and we can vote on these things Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we're going to vote on them. And this one shouldn't be hard, folks. I understand there are some that are going to draw some opposition from the other side of the aisle. But Democrats and Republicans, in a very big bipartisan fashion, agree that he is very qualified for this job, that is an important job to America's national security interests, and frankly, I believe we ought to fill it as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I hope he keeps that same energy for the other nominees. He said, we'll draw a little bit more scrutiny. You know, I think he's talking about Tulsi Gabbard or Hegseth or Kash Patel. Yeah, let's keep that same energy. If you want to stall it, nights, weekends, or recesses. It's 9:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's hopping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spice and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
And
There are new threats today at Nashville area schools. We'll tell you about and what President Trump is doing to follow through on getting rid of DEI in the federal government. Those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Man, I hate the lead that you had there.
I'm sorry. I hate it too.
It's awful. Just prayers for everybody, and I hope everybody stays safe. I hope that the security is prepared and ready for whatever may be thrown at them. And I hope that these threats are just fake news, and hoaxes, because this city has seen enough. And again, sending prayers and thoughts to the victims from that shooting yesterday at the Antioch High School. We don't want to see that in our city. And we want to get to the bottom of what happened, but let's not blame Trump or the gun. Let's ask real questions. Free speech is back on the table. Can we talk about mental health? Can we talk about SSRIs? Can we talk about the upbringing of this young man and find out what radicalized him in such a way? I think that those are the real questions people want to get to. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. I said free speech is back on the table, and on the way. I just got a question. Are we allowed to talk about the schmack scene now? Free speech. Fauci getting pardoned. Are we allowed to have some hard conversations? I think we might, and I think we will when we return. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 10 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Check it out. We're now at 36 degrees. Our high today right around 42. More in the forecast still to come here. There are new school shooting threats today, just one day after that shooting at Antioch High School that ended with one student killed, another two injured. The shooter also killed himself. Channel 4 is reporting that a parent has posted a screenshot of text messages circulating online that claim this Antioch shooter collaborated with students at other schools on a coordinated attack. The other schools mentioned include Cane Ridge, Glencliff, McGavock, and Hillsborough High Schools. Metro Nashville police confirming the district is aware of the threatening messages. They say, though, however, they don't believe the threat is credible. Meantime, state lawmakers have no immediate bills to explore making schools safer during the current legislative session. But State Representative Scott Sapicki tells the Dan Mandis Show that he expects more attention to be given to mental health issues.
These individuals, they have crossed a line mentally that they are willing to shoot another individual, and we've got to try to get them as much help as we can ahead of time and being able to look for the signals and get people trained to look for the signals of someone who's in distress.
Now, in an unrelated development, a McGavock High School student was arrested last evening with a gun in his backpack. Police, however, are saying there is no connection to the Antioch shooting. We will stay on top of the story all day long and any new developments as well. We've learned that the City Cafe, a staple in Murfreesboro for the past 124 years, is closing its doors. In a statement posted to social media, the owners say it breaks their hearts to close, but the economy, quote, literally broke us. The cafe posted that it will remain open until its inventory is depleted. President Trump is going hard on his efforts to eliminate DEI in the federal government.
Federal employees across agencies and departments have received memos asking them to report any possible diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility programs. President Trump this week signed an executive order ending DEI programs in the federal government. The memo sent to federal employees says, "We are aware of efforts by some in government to disguise these programs by using coded or imprecise language." It says to report anyone who continues that work, and failure to do so could result in, quote, adverse consequences. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
That is the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. You can listen to us a myriad of ways. TuneIn app, iHeartRadio app. You can watch us. I'm seeing you, seeing me on Super Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You can catch podcasts on Apple and Spotify. Way too many ways to do it. Figure out what's best for you. Are we allowed to ask these questions now? You know, the hard questions that either get Dan Mandis suspended from YouTube when I say them, or used to get us banned from Facebook and Twitter. Are we allowed to ask these questions anymore? I think we're allowed to ask these questions.
Yeah, has the new policy gone into shape with Meta and all that fun stuff?
I know it has over at Meta. I haven't heard any updates over at YouTube. And I know Dr. Drew had the audacity, you know Dr. Drew Loveline?
Yeah.
He had the audacity to have a medical doctor on talking about medical stuff. Ooh. And he had to go through YouTube re-education if he wants his, seriously, 90 days of re-education if he wants his YouTube channel back.
That's wild.
I feel like it would be a badge of honor if I got us suspended from the tube. I do. I've been lobbying behind the scenes for Rumble for a while, just for the record. Let the record state, Hand has been lobbying for Rumble.
I'm just saying we could add a fifth streaming element on there.
Let's do it. Can we add Rumble?
I think so.
We should. Why haven't we?
Yeah, I'll talk to Ian about it.
You know what Crowder does? Mm-hmm. He makes this thing where if it's too sensitive for YouTube, like when he's live on YouTube, he mutes the YouTube stream and then he continues on Rumble. so YouTube is just him muted, but like you're having the actual conversation on Rumble.
Yeah. You just see, I mean, he's probably still getting views on YouTube, even if he's muted.
The funny thing is when I say, can we have this conversation now? I don't even have to elaborate. The audience knows exactly what conversation I'm talking about because it's a conversation that the audience and you have been having for a long time. And yesterday, CNBC, well, they had a question. And I was surprised to hear this on CNBC.
Serious note, I tweeted this out. A friend of mine, and if you're watching, I love you, diagnosed stage 3 breast cancer yesterday, okay? Close family members of mine have had it. Another buddy of mine just had a stroke. He's nonverbal now. Buddy of mine was in a hospital for 3 days, just got out yesterday or 2 days ago, RSV pneumonia. I know I'm getting older. I know we're all getting older. Is it just me or is everybody sick? Like the level of RSV, pneumonia, all this stuff going around, strokes, breast cancer. The New York Times did a story on breast cancer spiking. Doctor, can you give us an answer as to why? Because you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, we know exactly where you're going with this. Everybody knows where you're going with this. I'm surprised that this conversation is being had on CNBC. I think what you're witnessing is the Trump effect, right? Free speech is back, and people aren't afraid to ask these hard questions anymore. You know where I'm going with this, he says. You know. You know exactly where he's going with this.
A lot of people point to COVID and maybe even the COVID vaccine.
Oh, you never used to be able to say that. You never used to be able to say that. Now, again, I mean, just airing this could get us booted off the YouTube channel. Like, this is are we falling into the misinformation realm, or are we just asking questions? I'm just asking questions. And it seems like you're allowed to ask these questions now.
New York Times did a story on breast cancer spiking. Doctor, can you give us an answer as to why? Because you know where I'm going with this. A lot of people point to COVID and maybe even the COVID vaccine because they don't know. What is it?
Yeah, look, we don't know is the answer. Some cancers are going up, you're right. Colon cancer in particular, the incidence has been going up, particularly
Especially
in young
under
people.
30, yep.
Right, so
colon cancer is going up for people under 30. And now this echoes some of the same comments that we heard from the LA Times owner, who's a transplant surgeon and very smart guy, saying, I'm seeing these kinds of cancers in young kids that you would never see before. You just wouldn't see them. I love that we can at least broach the topic now.
we don't understand that. Some people believe it's related to changes in the U.S. diet. As far as the infectious disease that's going around, we have had a difficult season with flu, with COVID, with RSV. Those rates look like they're coming down across most of the country right now, with the exception of norovirus, which is still going up. The strain of norovirus that's circulating right now is a new strain, so a lot of people probably don't have baseline immunity to it, and that's why you've seen so many people getting it and so many people getting sick. That's about the incidence of norovirus right now is probably 2x what it was in the last 5 years in prior seasons. So there is more of that going around right now.
Let me ask you a difficult question. Did we hurt ourselves in some ways by avoiding stuff for so long that now these super bugs have been created? Otherwise, I'm just not sure what's going on.
Yeah, well, with the flu season, RSV, and COVID this year, the levels of infection weren't out of proportion to what we've seen from the historical norm going back maybe 10 years. There was a rebound after COVID because people were sequestered and a lot of these pathogens didn't circulate. I think we've worked through that and we're getting back to more of a normal baseline for these kinds of seasonal viruses.
So he kind of gives a roundabout answer on the viruses. And yeah, I get it. But, you know, there's always been those rumors out there that the schmovid-schmaxine is going to suppress immune systems. And people are asking the questions because this was mandated. You had to get it to work. You had to get it to be in the military. You had to get it to travel in New York, California. Unless you were, you know, the governor of the state, you had to get it to go to a restaurant. And then we see Dr. Fauci get pardoned. And it goes all the way back to 2014. And if you're paying attention and keeping score at home, you understand that that's when gain-of-function research kind of got the kibosh put on it. At least here in the States, it raises a lot of questions, you know, and a lot of times comedians will hit you with the biggest truth, right? Andrew Schultz, comedian I like a lot, he had this to say about Fauci and the pardon and the schmaxine.
But Fauci took the pardon. Fauci could say, I don't want the pardon. I don't think I did anything wrong. But he took the pardon.
I don't blame anybody for taking the pardon.
I do, because now you're guilty. Because there are a lot of people that were on the January 6th committee that were offered a pardon, and they said no. They're like, I did my job. I was supposed to investigate this. I did what I was supposed to do. I don't want the pardon.
If you're Fauci, you're not taking a pardon?
What's in my arm, yo?
What's in your arm, not mine.
That's what I'm saying. What's in my arm, yo? Why are you taking a pardon? What's in my arm, yo?
What's in my arm? What's in my arm, yo? Again, these are just questions, and I'm not a medical doctor, but I do find that the instances of people asking these questions is on the rise once again. The difference being we don't have an administration putting their thumb on the scale and silencing you when you ask these questions. That's the biggest difference I'm noticing right now. The questions haven't changed so much, just the ability to ask them has. RFK Jr.'s HHS hearing is scheduled for Wednesday, January 29th at 10 a.m. I'm looking forward to a guy with real honest knowledge that is going to come to the table and ask some hard questions and bring some hard truths. Trump actually ordered a blackout on the CDC, the NIH, the FDA. You can't send out any memos. And some people are saying maybe that's because they were going to put some stuff out before he got his people in place. And maybe they were going to try and sabotage Trump on the way out. I don't know if that's true, but I do know that there are blackout orders. CDC, FDA, NIH, as the health agencies prepare for what the Daily Mail calls a MAGA bloodbath. Okay. It just seems like a lot of things are happening. A lot of things are moving. You know, President Trump, he's officially halted gain-of-function research once again in this country.
Live at the White House with the details. So, Mark, they didn't end this already?
There was the original pause, but now obviously there's been a lot of focus on what's been happening in the last couple of years. Lawrence, good morning to you and good morning, friends. The Wall Street Journal reports that the Trump administration is drafting an executive order that would temporarily pause federal funding for gain-of-function research. Now, the idea behind this, of course, would be to allow Trump and other Republicans to have time to look at what's being funded because they've accused scientists of playing it fast and loose in lab settings. The Journal writes the goal of the order would be to stop scientists with U.S. funding from conducting gain-of-function research on viruses that could endanger human health, people familiar with the plan said.
Oh, like the research that they funded at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Again, this is something that would have got you banned for saying just a few years back. You're not gonna get banned anymore. It's interesting. You're allowed to ask questions once again. I'm not an expert, but I listen to the conversations that are being had. I do. You know, Nicole Shanahan, RFK's former VP pick, was on the Megyn Kelly show, And, she echoed a lot of what we're saying here. We have free speech again. But then she goes a step further and says it's time to call for a global moratorium on the mRNA vaccine platform. And she said, listen, it would have been different if it worked. But, I think we all know what the score was on that. Now they want to do an mRNA cancer vaccine. Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll pass on that one as well. Nicole Shanahan says we got to cut off all the mRNA platform, period.
And I will say that had the mRNA platform worked as they had hoped, that is something to be proud of. And I would say the speed at which it was deployed in a regular environment where you would have time to test and you had free speech, because remember, free speech was taken away. So that feedback loop was removed. Really important feedback loop. And that was removed. And so now we have free speech again. Thank you very much, President Trump. This is time for us to talk about it reasonably and logically. And it is not unusual for advancements in biotech to scale back, to come back to the lab, to come back to the researchers. Moratoriums have happened throughout civilization on technological advances, and they're important. And I think that it is time for us to really ask for a global moratorium on the mRNA platform. It needs more time. We need to really
so we can figure out.
Yeah, it needs more time, and we need to figure it out. Now you got people out there, especially in big pharmaceutical companies, that understand this is a cash cow. The mRNA platform is a huge money-making endeavor, 100%. And listen, a lot of these people care more about money than they do about you, than they do about me. So these are questions that we have to ask. Is this really for the science or is it for the cash? Nicole Shanahan went even a step further, and she was talking about extinction-level risks if AI-developed mRNA vaccines are rushed into use. Now, again, you'll get the text on the super text line, and I see you guys. It's not a vaccine, it's a gene therapy. I get it, but just for the sake of the conversation, they say mRNA vaccine. But this is what Nicole Shanahan said.
Go ahead.
Whew. People heard that and they were really up in arms, especially folks who understand that what we need for the mRNA platform right now is a moratorium. It's not ready for human use. Many people will explain why. One of the major reasons is that it delivers an inconsistent result in individuals. So you could be deploying the mRNA as it was, I think it was 700 million Americans received it. And
700 million doses.
Doses went out. Yeah, sorry, 700 million doses. Thank you for that correction. And amongst those, the estimate is around 5% doesn't deliver as expected into the host, and you don't know what dose or what individuals that's going to happen in. So many of the turbo cancers, we're seeing many of the blood clots. I sent you and your team a paper about how it's showing up in ovaries long after the date, how the shedding can even impact the shedding from an individual who received the vaccine can impact someone who didn't take the vaccine.
Do you remember when we weren't allowed to talk about that? I remember. I remember. Remember when shedding was just a conspiracy theory? It does seem like a lot of the science that we were told to trust for so long are now backing Nicole Shanahan's points. But you weren't allowed to talk about it. You weren't allowed to talk about how it may or may not affect menstruation cycles in women. But Nicole Shanahan's bringing that up here as well.
And now there's a study showing that women who didn't take the vaccine but were around someone who was shedding after receiving the vaccine were having irregular menstrual cycles because it was showing up in their ovaries. So one of the things that I think is really important, and this is an argument for issues that I know this group of people cares about. The Stargate people, they care about the economy, they care about competitiveness, they care about the population. And in order for our population to grow, to be strong, to be fully able-bodied, and for our economy, our human economy to thrive, we do need a moratorium on the mRNA for the time being. And I understand how many people are so impressed by this, especially computer engineers. They think that you can program the human body as you program an AI system, as you program a computer system. And the trouble with that mentality is that nature, and we don't even have models and the science around how nature works and how our bodies interact with nature. There's a element to it that when you interject something like the mRNA vaccine, there's a huge amount of stochastic randomness that can occur.
So she's calling for a moratorium on all of it. That's Nicole Shanahan. Once again, she was the RFK VP pick. That was her on Megyn Kelly. Now, listen, I'm not an expert, not a doctor. I've paid attention and read the tea leaves for a long time, and I'm excited that we're at least allowed to have the conversation. I think that is huge. It's a step in the right direction. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have all the answers. But at least we got people that are allowed to have the conversation now.
What's in my arm, yo?
It's 10:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand, and I'm here for my friends at the Glock store. Do you train? Are you proficient with your firearm? Do you have a firearm? If you answered no to any of those questions, it's time to step your game up. Step it up at the Glock store. That's where I train. I should be doing it more often. We all should, let's be honest. But when I train in a private room with a personal instructor. This is the way to train. You shoot less and you learn more every single time. You're not in a lane range with a stranger next to you. You're with a private instructor dealing with real-world scenarios and actually learning why you're doing what you're doing, not shooting down range at a target for 100 rounds. Like it's not even comparable at all. If you haven't shot in a shoot270.com indoor training center, it's time to do it. The only one is at the Glock store. And all month long, if you mention my name after you book a shooting session at shoot270.com, you'll get to shoot a full auto H&K suppressed MP5 for free. You just mentioned that you heard it on the Chris Hand Show, and boom, you're shooting a full auto H&K suppressed MP5. The right way to train? Private room, personal instructor. Every session, you're walking out better. And in January, you get to shoot a full auto MP5. Only in Nashville, only at my place to train, the Glock store. Book your session today, shoot270.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
why there are additional police stationed outside certain Nashville schools today. Also, we've got some news on the economy, and it's really not very promising. That's coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 1026 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. We were talking about Nicole Shanahan, RFK's VP pick. She was on the Megyn Kelly show, and you know she's asking a lot of questions about these mRNA gene therapies, vaccines. You say tomato, I say tomato. But I think the big question everybody has is
what's in my arm, yo?
I think that's what millions of Americans are wondering, right?
What's in my arm, yo?
That's comedian Andrew Schultz. You know, a lot of times comedians they hit the actual nerve of what's going on in culture, right? And I think there's a lot of people out there that are wondering just that, especially as we see these rise in all sorts of just strange things, happy little accidents and coincidences and strokes and clots and turbo cancers. Have we ever heard the term turbo cancers with such frequency before that was rolled out? Again, I can't prove a link. I'm just reading the tea leaves, and I have questions. I think everybody has questions, right? I think everybody does. Nicole Shanahan was on the Megyn Kelly show. She's RFK's VP pick, which this is why I put a little bit more weight on her. You know, RFK, HHS director, that hearing is going to be on Wednesday, January 29th. That's going to be must-see TV. And you also had Fauci getting a pardon in the midst of all this. And it's like, well, why would the trust the science guy need a pardon? It's a little weird. But, you know, Nicole Shanahan has real issues with the mRNA platform.
And so these, you know, if you see some of the uproar on X today about that, that's individuals who understand this pretty deeply, and they're very concerned. And yes, there's something very, very impressive about the mRNA platform. I mean, how wonderful if it worked 100% of the time and with a great deal of reliability. But we do need a moratorium on it for the time being.
Until it's not Russian roulette to take it.
Exactly. And
Megyn Kelly. I mean, listen, she's saying the quiet part out loud. It does feel like it's Russian roulette to take it, doesn't it? A lot of people were nervous. A lot of people had bad side effects. Now, you're gonna get bad side effects with anything. I understand that. I understand. But I do remember a time in this country where just a few side effects shut down the swine flu vaccine. Remember that in the 80s? I mean, they closed that thing down fast. And that was less side effects than what we're seeing out of this. So Nicole Shanahan says, moratorium, please.
And as I said, AI is a computer system. Human health is not. It is not. And so there are some good uses of AI in the world. And for those, I'm always happy to be a resource on. For instance, I was just with a farmer and we were coming up with a farm plan. And I was like, man, I would love, if there's an AI that could help me model the phases of deploying a new pasture, raised chicken operation on this lot, on this very specific lot here in California. Wouldn't that be great? Because farmers are really struggling financially, and that's actually a really great economic use of AI. So there's so many. I could think about about 250 things that could have been shared in yesterday's conference that are really excellent uses of AI, and I didn't really hear them. Instead, I heard a few that were kind of out there, and if deployed too quickly could lead to an extinction event. And
that's Nicole Shanahan, RFK's VP. Now, I don't know if it would be an extinction level event if we have AI developed mRNA vaccines. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I understand that the level of questions we were allowed to ask the last time an mRNA gene therapy was deployed en masse were very, very low. You weren't allowed to ask much of anything, were you? You just had to shut up and take it. That's not going to be the case this time. And we do need to raise questions, and there are plenty to raise. It's 10:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 10:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got a problem downtown this morning on the eastbound lanes of 24 at Shelby Avenue. The right shoulder is blocked off by a crash there. Be careful. Additional police stationed around schools around the Nashville area today after new school threats have been levied just a day after the Antioch High School shooting. Threats against at least 4 high schools overnight. Metro Police, however, are saying they have investigated these threats and they don't find them to be credible. They also don't believe there's any connection to the Antioch shooting. Meantime, State Representative Scott Sapicki tells the Dan Mandis Show that the legislature has provided money for hardening the outside of schools and for mental health efforts to help stop school shootings. He wants to know where Antioch High School stands on the use of that money.
We provided over $200 million for mental health of our students and our people in Tennessee, and we want to make sure that all of our school districts are pulling down those funds to help with social workers and crisis intervention teams for that when they identify a student or an individual who's in crisis to get them the necessary help. So there's a lot of questions that need to get answered before we start jumping to solutions and conclusions.
Now, the Antioch shooter posted disturbing online ideas related to anti-Semitism and glorifying former school shooters. Other news of the day, there's some not so hot news on the jobs market out this morning.
In the week just ended, 223,000 first-time jobless claims were filed, about 2,000 more than analysts were anticipating. The biggest increases came from Michigan, California, and Texas. The number of Americans actually receiving benefits is up to 1.9 million, an increase of 46,000 from the mid-month reading.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. The markets are not doing too badly. The Dow Jones Industrials are up 233. NASDAQ is down 31 points, and the S&P 500 index is gaining 10. That's the latest news. We've got weather coming up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
It's 10:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Why would you need a water filter? Well, lots of reasons. We'll talk about that a little later. But you need one. BetterWater.com. Make everything taste better. Trust me. Plus, the guys over there are awesome. Better Water LLC. Huge fan of what they're doing. You should be too. BetterWater.com. There's a lot to get to today. We're continually updating on the school shooting that happened in Antioch yesterday. Heartbreaking. And we have the best news people in the industry, and Joan Jones and Ken Weaver, who will bring you updates at the bottom and the top of every hour. And we're praying constantly for the families, the victims, and those affected by it. This is not something that any child should have to deal with. It's not something any parent should have to deal with. And it's just heartbreaking on multiple levels. There were no metal detectors in place during the shooting at the Antioch High School. Metro Police confirmed that. No traditional metal detectors at Antioch High School. And a lot of people have been asking questions about this. News Channel 5. Excuse me. News Channel 5 has the story. They say, we understand there were no traditional metal detectors, but there is technology at these schools that officials say just wasn't enough. We do know shatter-resistant window film and security vestibules were installed at entrances last year. They also added new security cameras outfitted with AI technology designed to identify weapons. The technology works by highlighting a box around what could be a concealed firearm, providing the probability of that item being an actual weapon. They say in this case, we've seen images online allegedly showing the shooter walking around with a backpack where he is believed to have stored his pistol. Metro Nashville PD says the two school resource officers assigned to Antioch High School were in another part of the building when the shooting started and got to the cafeteria just moments after the teen shot himself. They say to give you some context, lawmakers passed laws last year to put SROs in every school building. Metro Nashville Council later approved $3.9 million grant to help pay for more school resource officers. But Metro Nashville PD officers said last year they should have enough officers for each school, but they're still facing staffing shortages, which means they only have one per school. So no metal detectors. I mean, I don't want to live in a world where we do need metal detectors at schools, but I guess that's the reality of what we're dealing with. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. We're still learning a lot about the shooter, about the motives. He seemed like a completely unhinged individual, judging by his manifesto. I'll let you find that online. It's dark. It goes into a lot of radical ideology, and they're lining up to blame Trump and conservatives for this because why not? And I think that's just garbage. It's just a mess. And we had a school shooting last month in Wisconsin, and nobody lined up to blame Biden. Us included, right? Did anybody here blame Joe Biden for a school shooting? No. And it's silly to try and blame Donald Trump for it as well, because he closed the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Brian in the borough wants to talk about the shooting. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Chris, I work for the DHS. We could stop the school shootings in any school you want to. The problem is, you guys are talking about metal detectors. Well, those kids have backpacks and everything else. So the only way you can stop it 100% is you would have to have an X-ray machine where they actually divest themselves and they put the backpacks or whatever they're carrying through the X-ray machine. And it will pick up the guns and everything else, whatever's in their knives and guns. But if they do pick them up on their body, the issue is they're younger kids. You'd have to have a male and female in there to pat them down. And it would have to be okayed by the school and the parents to allow that to happen. But it can be stopped 100% in the whole country where there'll never be a shooting again.
Yeah, I mean, I just hate, statistically, these things are very, very rare, and I hate the conditioning that brings for young kids where now you're living in, a security state and just, a nanny state. And I hate the implications of that. My fear is like or my worries is like, or concerns or questions, where were the parents? Like, how do you not see red flags developing? I have 4 kids myself, and I couldn't imagine seeing them get to a dark place where they feel like that is the only answer, and not witnessing or realizing the red flags and the warning signs.
Well, why don't we were taught to look at an individual and can tell by their nervousness or anything else that's going on with them. And you could have a security system in there. There's a lot of us that are retired from the DHS, and I would be willing to do it free down here in Murfreesboro at Blackman High School or whatever it may be, and we'd be there to help and can identify most of the time about how they're looking or how their nervousness is going on, but they can stop it. It's going to cost money in the school districts, and I know what you're saying, but if it's in a backpack, it'll be showed up on an x-ray machine. But if they said they took everything off the body and it's showing up, it can be patted down, but then you're dealing with younger children and patting down you can have a male and a female security person in it, but they would have to be patted down. But it can be stopped 100%.
Yeah, I mean, but you say that, and then it's like, well, what about 3D printed guns? What about plastic guns? Like, there's always a workaround. You know, even with terrorists, they've developed vests that can blow themselves up that are undetectable by metal detectors, that don't use anything that drug sniffing dogs can bring. So, like, the people that want to do harm are going to find out a way to do harm. I just wonder where the parents were in this situation and how it got this bad for this kid without anybody knowing that something like this was even possible. Where was the school counselors? Where were the teachers? Just was nobody paying attention to this kid whatsoever?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Ghost guns we can find. You know, I mean, we can find a ghost gun. But the issue is, you're right, nobody detected him in. You go to sports events like the Predators or you go to the Titans, they have metal detectors, but you're not allowed to take backpacks in there. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep. No, I hear you. I mean, it's like for every solution that we could come up with, there's always going to be a workaround. Like it, you know, I hear you when you say, well, we could stop them 100%, and it's like maybe for the time being, but then somebody will figure out something to get around that. You know, it's. Right. Nothing is ever going to be foolproof, and I'm very anti-security theater. You know, you said you worked with TSA. How many guns get through every year? You know, a lot of guns get through.
Yeah, through our system, maybe one.
I've seen reports that are a bit more than one. Yeah. But I hear you, man. But you know, it's just. Even if you could get the parents to sign on for that, even if you could get the schools to sign on for that, it would only last until it doesn't. You know,
right?
It's
you know, I had a daughter get killed, and it's not fun to have a child killed.
Well,
mine was 8 years ago, and it's never going to end.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it doesn't end. You're with it the rest of your life. You know, it's not a fun thing to deal with. And I feel sorry for the parents and everybody in that school and schools and sporting events, everything. I just don't want to see it happen again. I just thought I'd put my 2 cents in. That's all.
No, and I'm glad you called, and I'm sorry to hear about your daughter, Brian. That's awful. You know, but I wish I wish a lot of these Democrats would keep the same energy with the violence that we see on the southern border. You know, I wish that they would keep the same energy when we're seeing senseless killing throughout the United States. You know, Trump was talking about the southern border the other day, and he mentioned, you know, parents lose kids, and they say it gets better with time, but it doesn't. It never does. It gets worse. Right. It gets worse. Right. Hey,
I'm sorry.
No, don't.
I'm sorry for the families and all that stuff. I don't want to start crying when you lose a kid, but you know, it's one of those things that happen through car accidents or whatever be happening. But I'd be willing to work in a school for free.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's hundreds of guys like you that would sign up for that in a heartbeat, because at the end of the day, you know, we just want to keep these kids safe. You know, that's really what it boils down to. Nobody wants to see this on any side, left or right. You know, this isn't a left or right issue. It's just heartbreaking, man.
It is.
Hey,
I thank you for my call and all that stuff. You can go back to work on your radio, but that's my opinion. that it could be stopped, but it's a lot of money involved in it, and you have to have people sign off on it and all this other stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there'd be a lot of red tape. And I appreciate the call, and I hear where you're coming from. Let's go to Bonnie in Dixon up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Bonnie?
Yes, I'd like to start out by saying that I want to send my condolences to friends and family of everyone involved, including the shooter at the school. That was very horrific. But I was wondering why this school shooting was so different from the Covenant school as to the fact that they released so much information so quickly about it.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely go down that route, and I have opinions on that as well. I don't know if now is the time to go down that route, but you could make the argument that because the manifesto, gave credit to people like Candace Owens, because the manifesto was what they would consider far right, that influenced them in releasing it sooner. Now, you could also make the argument that it got leaked online and people disseminated it themselves and spread it themselves before anybody could get a handle on it.
Yeah, that's just a terrible thing. But I wondered how it got to that point so quickly that it was, information for everyone when they still haven't released stuff on the Covenant school shooting. And so I just found that interesting.
Well, I will say this, playing devil's advocate here, the Covenant shooter, their manifesto, that girl's manifesto was in a notebook, right? This kid's manifesto was posted online.
Okay, I see.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I hear you. I hear you. They definitely acknowledged it a lot quicker than the Covenant manifesto, that took a long time. Let's go to Bill in Tullahoma. Bill, you're up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up?
Hi. Good morning.
Good. How are you?
I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in and say, I'm sorry. I guess you had something to say.
No. Please, yeah. Throw in your sense, man.
Okay. People have always talked about. Are you still there?
Yes, sir. I'm just listening.
Okay. The security at the airports and how long it takes to get through the airport. And there's only, say, 100 people on an airplane, and it takes forever. Okay, there are 2,100 students at that school. Is that right? That's what I heard, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And can you imagine trying to pat down 2,100 children every day?
Yeah.
Oh, they'd have to leave for school. The buses would have to start leaving at 3:00 in the morning. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a realistic solution either.
I don't either.
But I get why people are trying to figure out how we can stop this. I don't think it's bad to look for solutions, though. I think me and you are on the same page where
yes, sir.
That one doesn't. I don't think that one passes the sniff test.
No. But anyway, thank you.
Hey,
my call.
I appreciate the call, Bill. It is 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and the show's sponsored by my friends at Better Water LLC. I actually was down there just a couple days ago, this week on Tuesday, hanging out with these guys, walking through their plant, figuring out what they do, and they do a lot. A lot of what they do at Better Water LLC is bring purified water to kidney dialysis centers, and you got to have the cleanest water. They know how to do it, and they keep that standard for everything that they do. Now, what is in your water? I think that's a question that every American should ask. What's in my water? Whether you're on a well or city water, these are real questions. It could be anything. Sulfur, iron, chlorine, bacteria, E. coli. There could be a lot of bad things in your water, but if you talk to my friends at Better Water LLC, they'll take out everything from your water. They offer a full range of water treatment equipment, from reverse osmosis units to water softeners, specialized filters, UV lights, you name it, and they're based right out here in Smyrna and treat all of Middle Tennessee. These are the same guys that are treating the water at your local favorite coffee shop, and they do it at all of these coffee shops, all the big ones. I don't want to mention them by name, but you know the big ones? Yeah, they're treating the water there. Call Craig, call Brandy. They'll help you figure out how you can clean the water in your home, and they'll even test your water for free. 615-355-6063. Better Water LLC or betterwater.com. Pick up the phone today. Call Craig or Brandy, 615-355-6063.
Video taken inside the cafeteria at Antioch High School. And now we have the audio. And a warning here, it may be too graphic for some. Got this story and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I said it earlier and I meant it. We have the best news people in the industry in Joan Jones and Ken Weaver. Looking forward to that newscast on the way. It's 10:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. We're going to start talking about illegal immigration. Carolyn Levitt, the incoming press secretary, telling Fox News yesterday the only place the United States of America should be a sanctuary for is law-abiding American citizens.
I want to ask you about this, Caroline. Just crossed the wires, and we were waiting for a new executive order with regard to the border. It says Trump signs, let me just get it in front of me here. Thomson Reuters reporting, Trump signs executive order to suspend physical entry of migrants through the southern border. Give us a sense of what that means. And I guess the question that comes to mind first is what happens if someone does physically cross the border? What will happen to that individual under this executive order?
President Trump is using every lever of his executive power to secure our nation's borders. This is the #1 promise that he made to the American people on the campaign trail. And with this action today and the many actions that he took on day one in the Oval Office, he is delivering on that promise. And he is sending a very clear message to the rest of the world. If you are even thinking for a single second about illegally entering our country and breaking the laws of the United States of America, you will face consequences for doing so. You will be returned to your home country, and you will be arrested, and you will be prosecuted as well. One of the actions President Trump took on day one is actually empowering the court system to ramp up the prosecutions of illegal criminals who commit crimes here at home. And we are not going to tolerate this in sanctuary cities as well across this country. The only place the United States of America should be a sanctuary for is law-abiding American citizens.
She's absolutely right. You know, I'm really excited. A friend of mine, Monica Page, she's a Turning Point USA Frontlines reporter, just got her credentials. She's going to be in the White House press briefing room. You should give her a follow on X. You can find her on my page at Chris Hand on Air. She's fantastic. So she'll be joining the show as this administration kicks off because she's going to be in the room during those press briefings. Very excited about that. Donald Trump also says 1,500 U.S. troops have been dispatched to the U.S. southern border. Unbelievable. We're going to talk about that a little bit on the way. Plus, birthright citizenship. States are lining up to sue. I think they're going to lose. We'll talk about it when we return. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Antioch High School closed for the rest of this week as the community recovers from a shooting at the school yesterday. One student shot and killed another, then turned the gun on himself. One other student suffering a graze wound. This student watched it all happen in the school's cafeteria.
I felt like my whole world was crumbling apart in my hands, and I didn't have my phone, so I couldn't call my mom. And so I was really just there, and no one would know that I'm gone.
Tennessee Star reporting that metal detectors were installed at Antioch High School during the COVID-19 pandemic, but they were removed prior to yesterday's shooting for unknown reasons. Now, a video of the shooting has become available online, and we're about to play the audio of it. So if you are sensitive to such audio, or if you have young children with you, I'll give you a second here to turn down the volume. It appears the video was taken by someone in line at the school cafeteria when the shooting took place. You cannot see the shooter, but you can clearly hear what is happening. Killed was 16-year-old Jocelyn Correa Escalante. It's not clear if Solomon Henderson targeted her or if the two knew each other. Metro Police put out a statement saying that they did not know each other. Metro Nashville Police Chief John Drake revealing that there were warning signs before the shooting, referencing an online manifesto the shooter left behind. Drake says if someone brought those guns to the attention of a parent, teacher, or police, the shooting yesterday may not have happened.
To always, if you see something, say something. We believe there's some materials out there, and if maybe they were seen, maybe and said something, maybe more could have been done.
So this manifesto has been reviewed by several news organizations. The Tennessean says it included a layout of Antioch High School along with photos of the weapons that he wanted to use and his thoughts about why he wanted to commit a shooting. The Tennessee Star also reporting that Solomon Henderson's manifesto included statements that he was inspired by anti-Semitic political pundits on both sides of the political spectrum. Well, speaking to global business and political leaders at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland this morning, President Trump delivered his first major speech of his second term remotely from the White House, promising his economic plan will bring down prices.
I imposed a federal hiring freeze, a federal regulation freeze, a foreign aid freeze, and I created the new Department of Government Efficiency.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by my friends at Better Water LLC. Get your water filters, betterwater.com for all the info. Everybody needs a water filter. You know what it's doing to the frogs. Everybody knows. It's not a secret. Betterwater.com. I don't know why. It just tickles me pink every time. Every time. All right, we're talking about illegal immigration and the actions that the Trump administration are taking. And boy, oh boy, it's good to have adults back in charge, is it not? It's fantastic to have adults back in charge. We got 1,500 troops are going down there to stop the flow of illegal immigration down at the border. Carolyn Leavitt, the incoming press secretary, saying the only place the United States of America should be a sanctuary for is law-abiding American citizens, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. And the Laken Riley Act is now heading to President Trump's desk to be signed. I love it. This is what we need. We need to send the message that we are not open for anyone to come in illegally any longer. And that's the message that's being sent. The White House press secretary talked about the message that Trump is sending, and she said, listen, the message has been very, very clear.
Is using every lever of his executive power to secure our nation's borders. This is the number one promise that he made to the American people on the campaign trail. And with this action today and the many actions that he took on day one in the Oval Office, he is delivering on that promise. And he is sending a very clear message to the rest of the world. If you are even thinking for a single second about illegally entering our country and breaking the laws of the United States of America, you will face consequences for doing so. You will be returned to your home country, and you will be arrested, and you will be prosecuted as well. One of the actions President Trump took on day one is actually empowering the court system to ramp up the prosecutions of illegal criminals who commit crimes here at home. And we are not going to tolerate this in sanctuary cities as well across this country. The only place the United States of America should be a sanctuary for is law-abiding American citizens. That's the new way under this Trump administration. And President Trump will also continue to push Congress to pass border security measures as well to increase funding for Border Patrol and for ICE, for those brave men and women in uniform who have now been finally empowered to do their jobs after 4 long years under the Harris-Biden administration.
Yeah, it has been 4 long years. And the numbers are staggering. Absolutely staggering. Now, one of the other executive orders that Donald Trump put forward was ending birthright citizenship. You got to end it. You got to end it. You can't sneak into this country illegally, have a baby, and that baby's a citizen. You can't. It's not sustainable. It doesn't make any sense, and it's created a birthright tourism industry where people are just, they're coming in 8 months pregnant, and hey, I have a new U.S. citizen. That's not realistic. It never was realistic, and we now have 24 Democratic states and cities suing Donald Trump to end that. And you know what? The lawsuits need to be welcomed because this is going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. As of right now, according to CNN, the worldwide leader in news, as what Tim Burchett said, they're losing to SpongeBob reruns. But anyway, CNN, I have that clip for later. Don't remind me to play that, okay? Because Tim Burchett's just a savage. I love him. But yeah, they're losing to SpongeBob. But anyway, CNN says 24 Democratic-led states and cities are challenging President Donald Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship in court, a major constitutional challenge to one of the White House's signature policies. The lawsuit alleges that a Trump executive order signed on Monday violates the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which gives a constitutional right of citizenship to all children born in the United States. They say, despite a president's broad powers to set immigration policy, however, the citizenship stripping order falls far outside the legal bounds of the president's authority. That's from a lawsuit filed by 24 Democrat-led states and cities. Welcome the lawsuit, honestly. Bring it on down, okay? Because I think when they dive into this, you're going to find that Donald Trump does have the constitutional authority to end birthright citizenship. He just also happens to be the first person with the spine to try to end birthright citizenship. The 14th Amendment, which is what they say is he's violating. He's violating the 14th Amendment. Okay, the 14th Amendment was a response to the Dred Scott decision, okay? Dred Scott decision said that African Americans could not be U.S. citizens. So at the time, the new kids on the block, the new Republican Party, sought to overturn that decision, okay? Let me repeat that. The evil, racist Republicans sought to overturn the Supreme Court decision that ruled African Americans could not be U.S. citizens. Those dastardly, racist Republicans, okay? Just put that in context. There was a big committee that they had, a joint committee on Reconstruction, which drafted the 14th Amendment. And you can go back in the congressional records and find the guys that wrote this and their thought process behind the 14th Amendment. Michigan Senator Jacob Howard, okay, served on the Joint Committee of Reconstruction that drafted the 14th Amendment. Michigan Senator Jacob Howard is the guy that argued to include the phrase, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Okay? That is the biggest phrase that you need to understand. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Okay? Just underline that. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Okay? The 14th Amendment. All persons born in the United States. Sorry, I just lost it. The computer froze. Golly. 14th Amendment. Individual rights, listed in the Bill of Rights, incorporated against states, substantive due process. They said that if you're born here, you're a citizen here. But as long as your parents are subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Okay? That's the underline. You have to underline that portion. Now, Michigan Senator at the time, Jacob Howard, argued to have that included. He argued for that. This is a big deal because when you look in the congressional records, this was never intended to create anchor babies. In the text, Mr. Howard, who included all persons in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. He wrote in the congressional records, this will not, of course, include persons born in the United States who are foreigners, aliens, who belong to families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States, but will include every other class of persons. It settles the great question of citizenship and removes all doubt as to what persons are or are not citizens of the United States. I'll just read that again for everybody paying attention in the back. The text in the congressional records from Senator Jacob Howard, who was on this Reconstruction Committee that drafted the 14th Amendment in response to the Dred Scott decision. He wrote, this will not, of course, include persons born in the United States who are foreigners, aliens, or who belong to the families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States. They put it in the text, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, because they didn't want people to come into this country illegally and have anchor babies. I mean, it's in the text. This was in a response to the ending of slavery and making those slaves U.S. citizens. That's what it always was. Donald Trump he's well within his legal standing to challenge this. And I do believe if it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court, our conservative Supreme Court, birthright citizenship is going to be over in this country. Finally, it needs to be over. It does. 100%. It's not mean. I'm not lacking compassion. I'm just telling you what the guys that wrote it were thinking when they wrote it. And they put that line in there, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, very, very much on purpose. Very calculated. I think Trump's going to win that. I do. And I think all the actions that he's been doing on the border has been fantastic. Now, Washington State Democrats are actually helping illegal aliens, and you're seeing this all over the place. These Democrats helping illegal aliens avoid deportation. Washington State Democrat Party posted on, this was Facebook, I believe, protect our friends and neighbors from illegal searches and incarceration. If you see ICE activity taking place or any marked vehicles, please report it immediately to Washington Immigrant Solidarity Network at, and they give a phone number. Know your rights. Do not open the door. ICE warrant authorities may claim to have are not legal to enter your home. ICE warrants must be signed by a local judge to enter your home. If you need legal assistance, call Northwest Immigrant Rights Project at, and they give a phone number. These Democrats are actively trying to thwart the deportation efforts that a majority of the American people want. Massively. We have 55% approval of mass deportations in this country. It's more than just the conservatives, okay? Many on the left want this too. Many independents want this too because it's unsustainable. And you know what? They can try to block it. They can try to stop it. Nothing can stop this. It's coming. You got to buckle up. It's essentially here. Bill Malugin, reporter for Fox News, was actually down on the border no, excuse me, he was in Boston with ICE, and he followed them on an ICE raid, which is wild. This happened yesterday. Bill Malugin went on this ICE raid, and this computer keeps freezing. It was freezing for Dan this morning too. I apologize for that. Bill Malugin was down on the border, and this is wild. The report that he has with ICE going along on immigration raids.
Good morning, everyone.
It's a frigid 5 degrees in the pre-dawn hours just outside of Boston, where this team of elite ICE officers is briefing on their targets for the day.
We're going to be targeting some extremely violent offenders today.
Within moments, the officers are on the move, with eyes on their first target.
Looks like we got movement, target vehicle coming out.
They quickly take him into custody. He's an MS-13 gang member wanted in El Salvador for aggravated murder. And he has an Interpol red notice out for his arrest.
We are targeting very violent threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti. One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
I love it. He says, I'm not going back to Haiti. It's actually, you are.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Yeah, well, you can thank him. You can write a nice letter when you get home and put it in the mail because you are going home. These are the people that Democrats are trying to protect. Make no mistake about it. When they're putting up Facebook posts, say, hey, if you see ICE activity, let everybody know. They're going after gang members and murderers and rapists, and the Democrats are still trying to thwart that. It's absolutely insane to me. But this is the reality that we have. The Trump admin is granting powers to streamline deportations in the meantime, just giving, essentially a lot of authority for expedited removal. Trump's new policy, ICE officers can use the expedited removal process to deport migrants from anywhere in the country without a court hearing. The effect of this change will be to enhance national security and public safety while reducing government costs by facilitating prompt immigration determinations. The memo from yesterday read. I love how quickly these guys are acting. I do. And Stephen Miller was saying, listen, the initial raids, we're already removing vicious, violent criminals off the streets. Stephen Miller was on Fox News last night with Jesse Waters outlining these initial raids.
The initial immigration raids have already arrested and removed some of the most vicious criminals in this country, including child pornography cases, homicide cases, sexual assault, attacks on children. And this is just the very beginning in the effort to liberate this country from the migrant criminal threat.
This is who Democrats are trying to thwart ICE from removing, right? These people. It's so compassionate to notify murderers and child rapists of ICE activity in the area, is it not?
In the coming days, you're going to see a massive scale up in enforcement activities all across the country to dismantle these criminal networks. So not only is it going to be ICE engaging these raids, but also they're going to have support from their law enforcement partners in FBI, ATF, DEA, and U.S. Marshals. We're going to leverage the full power of federal law enforcement at President Trump's command and direction to save this country from this occupation. You're also going to see, as you mentioned, the Department of Justice pursuing civil and, if necessary, criminal charges against anybody who shelters or harbors criminal aliens. That includes individuals in sanctuary cities who are harboring violent and dangerous criminals from federal law enforcement. The tables have turned, and now those who protect criminal aliens are going to face the legal consequences that exist in statute. And at the border, as you've mentioned, the military is en route. They are mobilizing active duty, National Guard, as well as a massive effort to engage in military construction along the southern border to impede and deny the entry of illegal aliens and to send anyone who crosses home, or if they've engaged in criminal activity, they also may face significant criminal prosecution.
So we're scaling this thing up, and it's being scaled up so fast. I love to see it. I know you do as well. It's time to fix the problem and rip the Band-Aid off completely. Now, if Democrats want to stand in the way, well, they may be facing their own charges. And I hope some of them do. Honestly, I hope there's a Democrat out there that wants to really make a name for himself, and we make an example out of them. I hope so. I hope it happens sooner rather than later. I do. Because these violent criminals need to be off the street. And then, you know what? After we remove the violent threat, if you're here illegally, you're not off the table. Like, you need to be deported too. We had a call yesterday. Nice guy. He said my ex-wife is an illegal alien. And, she never did her paperwork. What's going to happen to her? I said she should self-deport and do the paperwork now. Like, we're not making special exemptions. It's time to take this country back. And that time is now. The inauguration of Donald Trump happened Monday. A lot has happened since then. And we covered that inauguration thanks to our friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They sponsored the trip for Brian to go down there, which was fantastic. Brian was live on the air thanks to our friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And if you want to support a patriotic company that is unafraid, look no further than Busy Bee HVAC. They have a ton of great deals for you right now going on for the month of January, like a free package upgrade for air duct cleaning. You buy the medium tier package, you get the premium package for free. You can get a free furnace checkup with any heating repair service. You can get a complimentary smart thermostat with any HVAC replacement, and that is just scratching the surface of some of the deals they have happening right now in January with your Root Pro partner, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They're the best, and if you need help with your HVAC unit, call Busy Bee today. 615-775-7833. That's the number for satisfaction guaranteed. Busy Bee HVAC, your Root Pro partner. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
We're learning more about the layer of protections at Antioch High School and what didn't work yesterday. President Trump telling the World Economic Forum Saudi Arabia could help end Russia's war on Ukraine immediately. These stories and more coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 11:28 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Yeah, Trump at the World Economic Forum. Love that. Putting everybody on notice. We're back to America first. And you're seeing the ripple effects of America first already. I mean, a lot of jobs coming back. A lot of jobs. We had Trump last night on Hannity. I'll bring you some of that audio on the way. That was fantastic. But you got Stellantis, the owner of Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge. They're bringing back a bunch of jobs from Canada to Illinois, and they're also going to be bringing back some jobs to Detroit and I believe Ohio.
Stellantis Investments returns 1,500 jobs to their Illinois plant. They're going to produce their new mid-size pickup in Illinois, and they're going to build their next gen Dodge Durango at their Detroit complex.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what the next gen Dodge Durango looks like. Is that electrified? Is it a hybrid? Hopefully the latter
we know that
for
the Trump administration is
investors in Stellantis.
On EVs.
No, and consumers really not that hot on EVs either.
Very true.
It's interesting to see Olaf Scholz in Germany wants to really push ahead, obviously because they've invested, Volkswagen, Daimler, and BMW so much in electrification. But yeah, this is interesting. You know, they're also pulling their production down from Canada into the U.S., Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan.
Yeah, it's the Trump effect. We're witnessing it in real time. We actually have jobs coming back. We have companies investing in this country. We talked a lot about the AI investment. Not a huge fan of it, but we might as well do it because if we don't, somebody else will. We might as well have those jobs here. Hate the AI cancer mRNA shot idea. I think that's a terrible idea. But you're witnessing in real time that investors and job creators are understanding that Trump is creating the atmosphere to make some money in America again, and it's going to help everybody. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 5 minutes, and right now, Metro Police say they've added extra patrols to schools today. It's out of an abundance of caution due to what they say are unsubstantiated threats online in the wake of yesterday's deadly Antioch High School shooting. The schools that are targeted in these threats are Cane Ridge, Glencliff, Hillsborough, McGavock High Schools, but again, police say they're unsubstantiated. Channel 4 says it is told by Metro Schools the weapon detection system installed at the school was online, but didn't catch the gun when it was pulled and then fired. The company that runs that technology, Omni, says the technology is supposed to recognize a weapon within seconds, then set off a number of notifications to police and school security. But Channel 4 says Metro Schools says they had the technology installed at the time of yesterday's shooting, but it did not catch the gun and did not alert police. Metro Police looking into writings circulating online purported to be from the Antioch High School shooting suspect, 17-year-old Solomon Henderson, whom police say turned the gun on himself after he shot and killed one teen and injured another. There is a photo of the suspect along with writings detailing a desire to hurt other people, among other things. The Tennessean says it included a layout of the school along with photos of the weapons he wanted to use and his thoughts about why he wanted to commit a shooting. The Tennessee Star reporting Henderson's manifesto included statements that he was inspired by anti-Semitic political pundits on both sides of the political spectrum. Metro Police say they have no evidence of a connection between Henderson and the girl he killed, 16-year-old Jocelyn Escalante, and the other teen who was grazed by a bullet. Addressing global business and political leaders this morning at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, President Trump delivering his first major speech since taking office remotely from the White House, saying that Saudi Arabia will be investing at least $600 billion in America.
Also going to ask Saudi Arabia and OPEC to bring down the cost of oil. You got to bring it down, which, frankly, I'm surprised they didn't do before the election. That didn't show a lot of love by them not doing it. I was a little surprised by that. If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. It's Chris Hand here for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. Great guy. And if you need health coverage, talk to him because he has over 20 years of experience in health coverage, and he can shop the entire market for you to find the best plan. And when I say the entire market, I mean just that, the entire market. Shane has over 75 different companies to shop from and every single type of plan available in the market. And he can help you no matter what your health situation is currently and no matter what your income level is. So don't let yourself or someone you know get taken advantage of by these call center agents with limited and overpriced health coverage. You don't want that. Shane can easily be saving you 30 to 60% on your monthly premiums. And some of the plans that he can get you will even pay you when you use them. It may sound too good to be true, but Shane can break it down for you and make it a reality. Give him a call today and let him know that Chris Hand sent you. He'll show you how much you could be saving on quality coverage right now. You can reach Shane at 615-465-0023, or you can hit covernash.com. That's his website. The phone number again, 615-465-0023. Call that number, book an appointment with Shane Ring, and get a quality health plan managed by you, not the government, covernash.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
That was Donald Trump last night giving his first interview to Sean Hannity live in the Oval Office. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. 38 minutes past the hour. Trump reacting to Joe Biden's preemptive pardons.
But this guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon.
That line made everybody on the internet go, ooh, ooh, spicy. Spicy, spicy, spicy.
And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
Yeah, it did. Funny enough, he didn't pardon himself on the way out. I love it. Yeah, listen. Look into everybody. They should, honestly. I know that they're, you're coming in with an enemies list and you're going to target your political opponents. No. They just target criminal activity and see where the chips may fall. You know, there's a lot of information that they already have on the Biden crime family, the Biden crime syndicate. We understand that he pardoned just about everybody in his entire family. So now they can't plead the fifth. So get him in front of Congress and make him testify. Make him testify. A lot of people were making a lot about this clip.
Joe Biden to give pardons to everybody but him. They wanted to take care of the economy. Yeah, but Sean, they wanted to. I don't care.
They're yelling at me.
This is more important because right now the economy is going to do great.
I want to know about
I'm here so the economy.
Said, I'm here so the economy is going to do great. Hannity goes, I'm running out of time. And Trump says, I don't care. I don't care. This is important. Now, a lot of people were like saying that Trump was dressing down Hannity. And Hannity was like trying to move on and get to the economy. But Hannity was pointing at Trump's people. And Trump was overriding his people. So he wasn't saying, listen, I don't care to Hannity. He was saying, I don't care that my people are telling you we're running out of time. This is important, he says. This is important. They talked about a bunch of stuff during that interview. And he talked about what's going on at the southern border, the border crisis, and the miscarriage of justice that's happened under the Biden-Harris administration.
This was a gross miscarriage of common sense to allow people to come in. And I believe the number is 21 million people, and a large percentage of them are criminals all over the world. This is not just South America. This isn't, we talk Venezuela, that's a big abuser, but these are countries from
Iran,
the Congo, countries that you don't even think of. The Congo has emptied their prisons out into the United States. We're not thinking about the Congo. We're thinking about South America. It's much more than South America.
He's absolutely right. I mean, the issue, people are like, oh, you're against Hispanic people. It's like, no. You don't understand. Trump says that he believes the number is 21 million people that came in illegally via Joe Biden's wide open southern border. To think that it's all Hispanic people is naive, completely naive. We have Egyptians and Sudanese and Lebanese and Turkish and I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Every country is sending illegal aliens here. Chinese, they were operating secret police stations. Listen, we have to get it under control.
But prisons from all over the world have been emptied out into our country by Biden, allowing it to happen. I don't even know if he knew what the hell was going on, but who would want this? I always say to people, you always like to understand, like in a business here, you want to understand the other side. Why do they want something, et cetera, and you figure it out. And there's usually an answer, almost always. I don't understand, why does somebody want open borders where, and they say the vote. Okay, but I did well with the Hispanic vote, if you're looking at Hispanic. They say they do it because they want to think they're going to stay in power. It's going to be better for Democrats. I don't really believe that. Besides that, they cheat so much. They don't have to do that. They cheat so well. They're very good at cheating. The only thing they're good at really is cheating. But here's the thing I ask. Why would somebody say that open borders are good, where jails and mental institutions from other countries and gang members right off the streets of the toughest cities in the world are being brought to the United States of America and emptied out into our country?
I mean, the only reason that you could think of is that they hate and despise the country, right? They want to destroy it from within. I mean, that's communism 101, right? Destroy the country from within. But he says Biden didn't even know. Biden had no idea. He was being whispered sweet nothings into his ear by his staff all the time and fed ice cream and handed executive orders to sign. He had no idea. You've probably seen the Mike Johnson interview that's been floating around where he went to him to talk about the gas ban. You know, we couldn't export any more of our liquid gas. And he said, I asked Biden about it. He goes, I didn't sign that. Yeah, I don't think Biden knew a lot of this was going on. It doesn't excuse him from responsibility. It actually makes everything a lot worse. But they were doing it because they hate the country.
Why would anybody that even likes, you don't have to love our country, you have to like it. Why would anybody that likes our country, the Democrats, allow that to happen? And even now, I watch them on television, they're trying to justify it. You can't justify it. The only reason it can be is two reasons. You're stupid, and I don't think they're stupid. I think anybody that cheats that much and that well is not stupid. You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Yeah. And you know what? Trump has said this many, many times. They're not stupid. They're not. You know, I used to wonder with these Democrats, like, oh, are you just making bad decisions? You know, are you just thinking the wrong way and it's backfiring on you, or are you complicit? And it's hard to argue that they're not complicit these days. Exactly. You know, they're not dumb. They know exactly what they're doing. And, I mean, the ramifications are going to be felt even throughout the Trump administration. Let's make no mistake about it. ICE is on the ground now, okay? We played a ride-along from Bill Malugin on Fox News, who was with ICE, and they're getting illegal aliens off the street in Boston. God bless them. I mean, it's a wild thing to embark on. Dangerous job, and I pray for their safety. But we're going to have to deal with this issue. And if you're a terrorist that's illegally in this country, and you know ICE raids are coming, well, now the clock is ticking. And we have a lot of terrorists in this country because of the wide-open southern border from Joe Biden.
We have terrorists in our country by the thousands. We have murderers in our country by the tens of thousands. We have numbers that came out, 11,000 people that murdered are now free and walking around in our country. And of them, I think 48%, they say, killed more than one person, and they're walking around. They came out of jails from other countries. And, you know, people, they've emptied their jails. I would, if I were the president or prime minister or something of another country, I'd empty my jails right into America, into the United States. Why not? And many of them did it. If you look at Venezuela, their crime rate is down now 78%. Because they took their street gangs and they moved them into the United States. And
yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they did. Trump is doing his best to handle this, right? He's going to do his best. It is going to be a hard job. Tom Homan is geared up for the job. He's ready to go. But this could have been avoided had Trump won in 2020. Though I do argue we're in a better position in 2025 right now because we lost in 2020, because it was rigged, because they stole it from us. You know, we didn't have that overwhelming mandate from the American people. They saw how bad things could get under just ridiculous leadership. And now they said, please, like, do what you need to do, Donald. Do it. We're here for that. He was also asked, did you think you were going to get back here? You know, did you think that you'd become president again? Did you think you were going to be in the Oval Office? And I think that's a good question to ask.
You were facing a civil trial, a criminal trial, conviction, sentencing, Jack Smith, D.C., Florida, Fonnie Willis. I mean, you fought through all of that to get back right here in this office. What people don't know is over there's a little red button you push. You scare people. People think it's the nuclear button, but it's really, you know,
something else.
It's you use it for a different purpose. But the question I have was, at any point, did you doubt you would be back here?
So it's a great question. It's something I don't think about. I never really thought about it. I don't think about, gee, will I be back? I just do it. I get it done. I get things done. I'm good at getting things done.
And that's why the American people put you back in the office. Mike on the road wants to talk about Joe Biden What's up, Mike? What are your thoughts?
Hey, Chris. Hey, this whole narrative that Biden is Trump's political enemy, I mean, Trump's already beat Biden. He's no longer his political enemy. He's just a former old president, old man, citizen now. And I think that Trump should go after Biden if for no other reason. We could put the pardoned family members and others on the stand and make them perjure themselves. I mean, these people should answer for that, what they've done.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. I appreciate the call. Let's go to Tony in the borough. You're up next. Tony, what's going on, man?
Hey, Chris, I just seen a post. I don't even know if it's real about Fauci maybe getting extradited to Russia. Any chance that'll ever come to fruition?
I saw that too. Listen, I don't know. I tried to look for the source on that. I couldn't find a source on that, so that's why I didn't want to cover it today. But it made me chuckle. Listen, if that's what we need to do to get a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia, who says no?
No, absolutely. Throw him in a gulag and forget about it.
Honestly, who says no? I mean, we have a lot of questions when it comes to Anthony Fauci.
What's in my arm, yo?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate the call, Tony. Thanks so much. It's 11:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're going to check in with Chad Benson, see what he's got coming up on the Chad Benson Show when we return right here on WTN. It's 11:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Chad Benson in studio. Off air, we were going through the intricacies and differences between Amish, Mennonite, and Quakers.
Yes.
Quakers. Oatmeal people.
It's Quaker Talk here on Super Talk 99.7.
But I said to him, when I lived in Pittsburgh, there were all these stories that the Amish kids would break into your car and they would drain your battery overnight listening to the radio.
And that way, when they went runspruken or whatever it's called, they could go party. You know what that is, right? That's when they turn them loose when they're like 17.
Yeah, if you love them, set them free. And if they come back.
Have you ever seen the documentary about that?
There was a TV show.
Yeah.
Where it was was it like Recovering Amish or something? Somebody on the text line, I don't remember the TV show. Fascinating.
But this documentary, they're so out of control that a lot of times when they're in trouble, basically when they're in front of a judge, the judge is like, you can go to jail or you can go back to your people. That's the way this is going to work.
Insane.
Because they get out and they're just, well, they've got nothing and it's just a free for all.
Well, it's like sheltered kids.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I always said, Jordan Peterson has this thing. It's like, the Sleeping Beauty story, Sleeping Beauty. It's like Maleficent wasn't mad because there was a new baby. She was mad she wasn't invited.
Yeah.
And so she stormed the gates. Like, you got to invite some evil in to get everybody ready. Yeah, get everybody ready for what it is. And these kids get out and they've never seen anything.
No. And well, that's just it. And they know it's out there too, because it's not like they're at that shelter. They see people drive by. They've got stores. I've been out in Pennsylvania and a few places. They've got, like, the Mennonites have a big store. You can go to these.
Yep.
It's so weird. You pull into your car and there's like a whole roll of buggies, which is so weird. So weird.
It's wild. Everybody on the text line. Breaking Amish and Amish Mafia. Amish Mafia was wild. Do you remember Amish Mafia?
Yes. I'm like, is that real? Like, I know some of it's, they put it on, but how real is some of that stuff?
I don't know. Because if you're Amish, why would you want a film crew following you around?
Well, that's a good question too. But I just look at some of this stuff, and obviously it's reality television is wacky. They put you in situations you would never be in, but some of that stuff's got to be rooted in some truth. There's got to be guys who are running the joint. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's a hierarchy.
Yeah,
100%. But you had Quakers.
We had the Quakers. Now they were really nice.
That's Diet Amish?
Yeah, kind of. They lived in the modern way and stuff, but they had the outfits and the whole 9 yards. And we had a Quaker church near us.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever go?
No, but we'd see them all the time because this lady made the best bread in the world just up the street from us, and man, we'd see them all the time.
I would be fat. If there was a Quaker church, I would go.
We had the Cowboy Church.
You had a Cowboy Church? What's a Cowboy Church?
Cowboy Church, just like the same. People roll up with their horses, get off of them. People with hats and stuff. They weren't quite. I keep praying and hoping they were going to dance with rattlesnakes. That never happened. But it's the Cowboy Church, man. There's Cowboy. How you doing? Jesus loves cowboys. Like, it's that kind of thing.
He does. He does. I mean, that's fact check true.
Yeah. Billy the Kid loved cowboys and Jesus too.
1102 on the text line says Amish Mafia is made up. LOL, I grew up Amish. Well, that's what somebody...
You grew up Amish.
That's what somebody would want you to think.
They put a barn up fast.
That makes me think that the Amish Mafia is real. It's like first rule of Amish Mafia.
That's exactly what the Amish Mafia would say.
Yeah.
We don't exist.
Yeah, it's like La Cosa Nostra. There's no such thing.
This is our thing. No, it's not. You know nothing about that.
Yeah.
So what'd you talk about today? What are we going to talk about?
We talked about a little bit of everything. I mean, we're going through some of the illegal immigration. Do you see Bill Malhusian went on an ICE raid in Boston?
In Boston.
And this Haitian guy yelled out the window, F Trump, Biden forever. Biden forever. Tell Obama I said thank you. That's what he said. That's what he yelled out the window.
And it's so funny because you're like, wow, that right there is the selling point that he needed.
Honestly.
Yeah.
If there was an ad to remove illegal immigrants, that's it right there.
I'm curious about how this is going to go with the cities and with the feds, how this is going to balance itself out.
Well, this is what I want. And it's, Washington State, they're posting up on Facebook, hey, if you see ICE activity, let people know. It's like, I want an example made out of somebody.
Well, there's going to be a mayor somewhere, a city official that is going to want to martyr themselves so they can raise their profile, right? They can raise their profile. They can virtue signal. And you've talked to most constitutional lawyers, and I'll tell you the same thing. You don't have to cooperate, but you can't stop something from happening, and you can't basically encumber an investigation.
Yep.
And there's going to be something like that.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait for somebody to do it. But the underline you nailed, virtue signal.
That's all it is.
It's always about virtue signaling. None of these people actually believe in what they're espousing.
No.
They're virtue signaling.
Yeah, because you see some of the, like, isn't it the mayor of Boston, right? She's like, well, you know what? Maybe we should let ICE do some of this stuff. Why? Because she heard from her constituents and they said, this isn't going to happen anymore here.
The governor of Massachusetts, Maura Healey, she's like, we're going broke because of these migrants. And they started their own deportation effort before Trump even got elected. And by deportation effort, they said, how about we get you a bus ticket to New York?
Yeah.
We'll send you up to New York.
How about we send you anywhere but here?
Yeah.
Right. But you're hearing from your constituents, and the people that are citizens, the people that are here legally, they're looking around going, okay, so you just kicked us to the curb, right? Because you see a future of victim voters for you.
Yep.
So we're not going to have that. And they're like, ugh, we better listen to what people are saying.
You had 2 districts in the city of Boston vote for Trump, which is just unheard of.
Yeah.
Blue collar union guys. And CNN's like, well, what is it? You know, what made you vote for him? They said immigration and the economy.
Yeah.
And Kamala Harris is like, you know why they didn't vote for me? Doug.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like, Doug slept with a babysitter 15 years ago or whatever it was.
Have you heard the other rumor going around? Speaking of divorces, that Barack Obama may be ditching Michelle for Jennifer Aniston?
Wouldn't be a bad thing.
Okay, so I asked this question earlier. Is it a bigger upgrade for Barack, or is it a bigger downgrade for Aniston?
It's an upgrade for Barack, no doubt about that. And Aniston, gives him some street cred in the world street cred.
World cred.
That's right. You know, I mean, that's an interesting. I've heard that though. That like, my wife's like, is that true? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, would I be surprised? No.
When a rumor doesn't go away and it's on the internet, it must be true.
The minute the Inquirer reports it, it's true.
The National Enquirer. Our kids don't know how good we had it.
No, or the Weekly World News. Yeah, that's Bat Boy.
It's 12:01 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.